Good afternoon. My name is Miles Horton. I'm one of the original student leaders of Divest Williams. And I just want to share a little bit about the history of the campaign during the first few years for your learning and, hopefully so you don't repeat the mistakes of the past. I've also included a couple useful links in the comments section to this video. I'll refer to them throughout. You can find them. You can also find even more information in the other videos here on our YouTube channel. And again, please look in the not the comments, the description for a variety of links, information, summaries, that kind of thing. Divestment at Williams, this video covers 2012 to 2014. It really kicked off in the summer of 2012 when Bill McKibben, then the leader of 350.org, and sort of the founder of the global climate movement, published this article in Rolling Stone magazine called Global Warming's Terrifying New Math. And the basic thesis was that new research had shown that climate change was going to be much more severe much earlier on than we had anticipated. Research was coming out, it was even grimmer than we thought, even more drastic action was needed. And he was saying, what can we do, right? This whole campaign of changing our light bulbs or, using more efficient heaters was clearly not adequate. The public policy process, which is sort of the end goal, was very stalled at that point. A big cap and trade bill had just failed in Congress a couple years before. And what can be done? His basic idea was that, similar to movements we've seen against tobacco or apartheid in the past, maybe what could turn the tide, the sort of last best hope, was if places like colleges and universities, religious groups, local governments divested their endowments, their holdings, from the fossil fuel industry to boycott these companies' practices, to boycott the way they keep this grip on our entire political economy and continue to promote these practices that are destroying our earth. So he said, go out, launch your own divestment campaigns, stand up to the bad guys, stigmatize what they're doing. There actually, it's worth pointing out, there were a couple small fossil fuel divestment campaigns going on already at that point. Swarthmore and Mountain Justice is probably the one that pops to mind. But they were pretty small and they had not really gained traction nationwide. People actually brought up the idea with the Williams leadership, like President Adam Falk and stuff, before that, but they always said, no, it's not part of a nationwide movement. We wouldn't want to divest. It's not worth it. Ironic now that it is part of a nationwide movement, but so be it. So coming off that article in the summer of 2012, there's this divestment group at Williams that got together, a lot of motivation, a lot of cool people involved, but it did struggle early on. They got together some ideas for divestment, went to members of the administration, members of the board of trustees, said, hey, we think this would be a great idea. The response was very non-committal, sort of, nah, maybe not. And of course, as so often happens with student movements at Williams or any school, but I think Williams in particular, people get busy with their work, they are about to graduate, they have to look towards the future. I'm dressed for a job interview right now. People kind of moved on very quickly once they got that initial negative response. And so that was the 2012-2013 school year. By spring of 2014, there were really only a few of us left. Maybe Tara Miller, Sam Lewis, myself. Those were the dark days. People didn't know what divestment was. It wasn't really on the radar. No major school had divested. There had been this initial push of divestments in kind of 2012, 2013, but by 2014, people were saying, maybe Bill McKibben got it wrong. Maybe divestment was not the way to go, because no major institution had divested at that point. It was just not good. And I've attached a little video in the description below to a Claiming Williams Day panel that we had, actually, where you can watch the pro-divestment forces just get creamed. But as always, out of the darkness came a dawn. And one thing that happened was later on in that spring, the sort of global divestment movement notched up some big wins. I think that was around the time Stanford divested from coal, back in the headlines. A couple other universities divested, Pittsburgh, a couple of major cities at that point, like Santa Fe, stuff like that, divested their pension plans. And the momentum was moving in the right direction again. So that summer 2014, I was in Boston working on the campaign of Don Berwick for governor of Massachusetts. We lost in the end, but great progressive candidate. And while I was there, this was obviously a sort of center of liberal organizing. I had the chance to talk to a few students who were campus divestment organizers. And out of that grew this whole idea to get a campaign kicked off at our school. So I'll touch on this later as well, but it's worth pointing out, one thing that I think is going to help the campaign a lot moving forward, whoever, wherever, whenever you are watching this, is don't reinvent the wheel. There are people out there who have seen every phase of a divestment campaign, whose campaigns are far more advanced than we are, who can offer choice advice at any stage in the process. And I would say make sure you're making the most of those resources. For me, it was a few people, Sophie Robinson, Williams class 2011, Shay Reister, people who worked at 350 Massachusetts and or the Better Future Project in Cambridge, Mass. And they were more than willing to meet with me at any point, give me help, connecting with other student activists. And that was just incredibly helpful thinking about the fall. I talked to my friend Sarah Vugalich, who was excited to join in. We decided we would plot out the contours of a campaign the coming fall to kick off. So the good news was, again, sort of the momentum shifting in the right direction. There was a big event on September 21st, 2014, right near the start of the semester, called the People's Climate March in New York City. It was one of the hugest environmental rally ever. 400,000 people, one of the biggest in U.S. history. It was incredible. My favorite moment was actually there was like a minute of silence. And then people at the back started yelling. But, there's 400,000 people, so the people at the back were, like, miles away. So there's just this tiny noise, and then it just builds up like a wave. And suddenly it hits, and, it's so loud that everyone's screaming, and you're covering your ears and screaming at the sky. Just this unbelievable moment. And incredible energy coming off of that. And, what was exciting, too, was it was the first environmental event I'd been to that actually looked like America. This incredibly diverse group. I think people were finally, more broadly, on the kind of national level, environmentalism was finally plugging into all these other progressive causes. People understood that things like environmental justice, equal rights for all of these were tied into this broader progressive agenda. So it was this incredibly exciting moment. And coming off that, we had a big kickoff event on campus in Morgan Basement. And, there had been like 80 plus Williams students at the march, including, on top of that, there were faculty, staff, all sorts. Coming off that, we had this big kickoff event. About 30 students showed up. And we made it our goal for the semester just to get divestment into the bloodstream on campus. That meant getting op-eds into the Record, getting news coverage. That meant putting orange squares. Orange square is the international symbol of divestment. Putting these orange squares onto people's backpacks, so when the trustees are walking around campus, they see this is something students care about. We had a divestment Goodrich party. Went to those open lunches with President Adam Falk just to keep make sure every time he met with students he was talking about divestment. Got our Facebook page up, logo, met with some of the trustees, this, that, throwing everything at the wall, just getting divestment into the dialogue on campus. I gotta say, there was incredible energy. Fall 2014, we had an amazing group of younger leaders, underclassmen leaders, who I think are just going to go on to do really amazing things. So if you're watching this, guys, love you. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. We did catch the wave at the right time, I think. That fall saw a big increase in interest in social justice issues more broadly on the campus. For various reasons, I think. But it did make our lives easier. We could work with other groups that were working to create, whether it was more tolerance, more respect, more open dialogue around certain issues. people, we'd bring up that we were working for divestment, and that would immediately click with what other people were trying to work on in a way that I think hadn't necessarily done there before. So that was very exciting, and we were able to work in tandem with a variety of other groups in this way, and I think that actually really helped grow our base, as well as letting us help support other worthy causes. It's a very successful semester overall. I think, I'm making this video at the end of 2014. A couple quick thoughts about running the campaign. I won't make them too long. But I do think one thing that we did successfully was building some degree of group cohesion. That always comes up as soon as this becomes a chore, as soon as people don't enjoy coming, they'll drop off. So it's key to make sure everyone's friends, make sure everyone's tight, make sure everyone feels like they're important, they're listened to, they're valued, they're necessary in the campaign. Now, we tried different things. We had a bunch of divestment pre-games and stuff like that, and that was kind of a flop. But, but I think it's just the thought that counts in a lot of ways. You gotta ask yourself, are you constantly making an effort to, oh, my dog's barking, to be, making the campaign more inclusive? I think one way we can do better on that front is, there's a lot of big personalities. Hey, Tal, quiet. A lot of big personalities. Is everyone's voice being heard? Are some louder voices drowning out the others? Can we be comfortable with those awkward silences? And that's an open question and just something to work on. I think last but not least, again, I'll return to what I said before. Don't reinvent the wheel. There are people out there who have seen every stage of a divestment campaign, who are experts on what they do. For us, it was Shay Reister of 350 Mass in particular. I'm sure you guys will find other mentors, other schools or organizations. But on the whole, always look to the experts at moments of uncertainty, because they'll be able to give you a lot of perspective, and that's how the learning process continues. So good luck. You're on the right side of history, and it's been a real pleasure engaging in this campaign, and through the highs and lows, and I hope you enjoyed it as well.